Hey, welcome. Hey, how's everybody doing? Wow. Okay. New version of new version of YouTube, and YouTube has done away with Hangouts on Air, so we got a whole new program, and yeah, taking a little bit of time to get used to that and figure it out. Also, so far, unless I'm just stupid, which hey, could be, there's no screen sharing, so yeah, that just that doesn't go well, but. Needless to say, I put the whole slide deck in the notes with the link. You can go there and get the slide deck and kind of follow along. After my lecture at Congress, many people wanted to have the slide deck, and a lot of people wanted to know what the lecture was about, and they asked me to send it to them. And if anybody knows me very well, then they know that I do not write my lectures out. I never have. I use, if I write anything down, then it's usually archaic notes to myself. I study the content thoroughly before going on to speak, and it just happens. It just comes to me. I can't tell you how other people tell me it's crazy. Some people tell me that I'm doing it wrong. Other people tell me that it's fabulous. Right, wrong, indifferent. That's how it is. But I made slides, about 10 slides, mostly for the audience to have key takeaways and cues to what the lecture was moving toward and how we were getting things done. So the way this all starts is, you know, the very prominent and prestigious Cheryl Jarrett sends you an email, and she says, hey, would you like to speak at Congress? And you say, yeah, I'd like to do that. And she says, cool, what are you going to talk about? Send me your topics. Sending my topics, that's always a good one, because I've got plenty that I would like to talk about and things that I would like to say. And I'm never at a loss for words, so therefore, I send my topics. Last year at 2018 Congress, I sent my topics, and I put in there a couple that I thought never, ever in the history of gymnastics would ever get picked up as a topic. And guess what? The 3 biggest failures of the gymnastics industry was the topic. Now, I did a social media one also, but the main one there was the big one was 3 biggest failures. And in that lecture, I identified that there is no career path. There's no structured career path for gymnastics, for gymnastics coaching, for gymnastics program directors of all kinds, preschool, recreational, compulsory program directors, optional, there's nothing for general managers. There's nothing for business owners. Very little for business owners. My good friend Jason Silverman's doing an outstanding job bringing some fresh, new perspectives to the world of gymnastics, and I support him fully. I like what he's doing, and you guys go check him out. JasonMSilverman.com. Go check that out. It's some really good material, and he's doing a lot of good things. And in those things is kind of helping bridge some gaps. And some of those gaps that we have are because we don't have a career path in gymnastics. No career path in gymnastics. There's no way to get it. Now, I am working with some folks who really want to bring a career path to gymnastics and make it a reality that we have it. But right now, we don't have it. It's not there. It doesn't exist. So in identifying that, led to when in mid-February, Cheryl sends me the cool email. Hey, would you like to speak at Congress? And I said, yeah. And she says, cool. What are your topics? So I had a lot of cool topics. And then the last one, the bottom topic, which I thought she wouldn't even get to that one because it's the last one. And the other ones were really cool. I liked them. And it was 5 steps to better recreational staff training. So here we are, 5 steps to better recreational staff training. And a lot of it's taken from a lot of different conversations with numerous people around the country numerous gym owners of all different levels. Some of them just have recreational programs. Some of them just have preschool and rec programs. Some of them have big team programs. Some of them have a very well-rounded program with even incorporating some different sports and different things. But talk to many people. And of course, my partner in crime, Bryan Smith, he and I've had, I don't know how many hundreds of conversations about how to improve staff training, not just recreational staff training, but staff training on the whole, because there's nothing out there to get staff up to speed and give you a career path. So with all that said, the first slide, if you're following in the slide deck, the first real slide, after you get past all the nuances and fun stuff of who I am and all that, is create a plan, then work the plan. Quote from Napoleon Hill. What I found in my studies and in my research to do this presentation was most gym owners struggle with knowing their current numbers. I know it's going to shock and surprise a lot of you, but most gym owners don't know their specific numbers. And when I say that, it's not the total numbers in the gym. Oh, I have 700 kids. Cool. Yeah, well, I have 5 preschool kids and 695 team kids. Awesome. How are you making any money? So, but then again, how are you staffing that? Because, oh my God, that's a lot of team kids. But needless to say, they struggle with the numbers. They struggle with knowing their numbers, and they struggle with figuring out their financials within those verticals of their gym. Preschool and breaking preschool down. Mom and me, the 2s and 3s, the 3s and 4s, the 4s and 5s. Okay, breaking it out. Then the compulsory, it goes right up the line. All right, rec classes, beginner, intermediate. Okay, you get the point. They don't know, and they haven't sat down to figure that out. And they also haven't sat down to figure out how much does it cost to acquire a new student. I had one person tell me, "Oh, it doesn't cost me anything." I put it out on social media, and it doesn't cost me anything. I said, "Really? It doesn't take you any time to do that?" Well, I have to sit there and figure out what I'm going to say, and I'm going to, okay, then that just cost you money. It wasn't free. Time is not free. If you're a business owner, if you're a gym owner, program director, general manager, listen to me very carefully. Every minute that you are using to do something to work on, build on, improve on, or promote your program, your gym, is costing you money. Time is not free. It's not. It's not free. So they don't know the numbers. They don't know the current financials of their gym. And then most of them, surprisingly, because we all are coaches. Okay, coaches usually have something called a plan. Okay, no plan. So they don't know the numbers. They struggle with the financials. They have no current written plan, and they have no idea where to start their plan. And I know you're thinking, what the hell does this have to do with rec staff training? Well, all this has to be prepared and in your mind before you start training anybody to help you build, sell, and promote your business, because that's what rec staff does. So let's go forward. Next slide, which if you're following along, cool. If not, I got it pulled up on the side. So if you see me looking over like this, that's what I'm doing. Okay, it's all about the timing. Step 1, all about the timing. In May, and I love the month of May. In fact, I'm trying to put together something with that'll come in the future with Jason Silverman in the month of May, specifically for, and it's not for coaches, it's only for gym owners, program directors, general manager type people. That's it. That's all it's for. Okay, and it'll be held at a nice place, and we'll have a lot of fun things. But needless to say, it's just for that. And it's to sit down with everybody in a mastermind format, okay, very collaborative mastermind format, and answer a couple of questions so that as we go through training staff and doing a better job of training staff, then we have a good understanding of what's working well, what's not. what's working well in the business, what's not working well in the business. Then, of course, answering the question to the big elephant in the room after you get all that information out is, why isn't it working? And a lot of staff aren't going to tell you this. It's not going to happen. I mean, they're fearful for their jobs. A lot of owners tend to come off a little heavy-handed sometimes. We're all very aggressive alpha people. So some staff just will not tell you that something's not right until it's the 2-week notice. And then at the 2-week notice, you get a garbage can dump on your desk of all the things that aren't going well. And they all could have been avoided. They could have been fixed. You could have gotten rid of them if you had known. And most of the time, there's no way to repair that relationship, and that person leaves, and then you're stuck having to get a new staff and then go through staff training. And let's face it, it costs money to do staff training. It costs money to get the staff, to bring them in. On average, what I figured out, just talking to different people and using my own metrics and things that we've done, is it's anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to get a staff person, depending on what level in the rec program that you're trying to hire. Okay, some of them are very cheap, but the time that you put into it is going to cost you, so it's around $500. Some of them you have to put a little more effort to get them, and then it costs you to train them and get them up to speed with how you run your gym. So in my slide, as the first step, it's all about timing. I suggest the month of May. All the championships, most of the championships, except for TNT, most of the championships are finished in May. Most of the rec programs end in May. Most people are getting prepared for summer camp in May. Okay, and when I say prepared, they're doing the last minute things. And the last minute things are usually securing the final staff for their camps. Now, you start talking to these people probably February, March, and then you solidify everything April, May. But in May, you have a little bit of a break, couple of weeks there. You have a little holiday weekend, and you have time to actually sit down and go through and ask these questions, 2 simple questions of yourself and of the key staff, so that you can bring it to your rec staff. And then 2 simple questions, once again, just so you don't forget them. And you should write them down. You should hang them on the wall in front of you. You should put them on your mirror in your bathroom. What's working well? What's not? Simple. Okay. The next thing is, do you, the gym owner or the program director, general manager, do you know your objectives for what these people that you're about to hire are going to do? What are their objectives? Well, Bryan, that's simple. They're going to teach recreational gymnastics class. Duh. No, they're not. That's not their purpose at all. Okay, back in the 70s when I started gymnastics was pretty simple. There was like 1 gym in town, maybe 2. If you were in Houston or Metroplex, you might have 3 or 4 prominent ones, and then you had maybe 1 or 2 little ones, and that was about it. Today, you have a gym, they're just miles from each other, and they're very competitive against one another. So if you don't have objectives for what you're hiring these staff to do, then you've got a big problem. Okay, so the objective is, what are they going to do? What are they trying to accomplish? Then you have to ask yourself, what are the key results that we're trying to get out of this? Trying to grow, and you have to know those numbers. You have to know those numbers. Trying to grow mom and me. So my objective is trying to reach out to the community to let people know we have this wonderful early childhood development using gymnastics to develop kids and future athletes. Key results: growing this mom and me class, growing the 2 to 3-year-olds. Okay, you have to have those key results in there, and you have to, and that's how you're going to do it. Okay, we're going to do it by XYZ. And then, of course, you know the numbers. So what is the metrics that you're going to use as measured by, so you know the success of that? If you want to learn more about the objectives and the key results, short-termed by John Dewar as OKRs, and you're going to read the book, you're going to listen to the book on Audible, and you're going to go, Bryan, what the hell does this have with gymnastics? It has everything to do with gymnastics. It has everything to do with every business. Okay, and it's been proven over and over through many, many decades that the system is simple, it works, and it's very collaborative. Okay, so OKRs. And of course, my dogs want to go crazy right when we get to the good part. But OKRs, go look at the book Measure What Matters. Measure What Matters by John Dewar. Measure What Matters. So we're going to the next slide, and the next slide is a chart. I put up a planning chart, and it was just a training plan chart. So it's is your plan public? Can people see it? And that's basically the objectives and all the things put together there so people can see it. Because if people don't know where you're going, like your staff and the public, say to say, they don't know where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, you're probably not going to get there. Everyone's got to be rowing in the same direction. So I put up a chart. If you look at that, real simple. You can use the same. Bryan and I did this chart, use the same exact chart, and he showed it how to work for athletes, and then I flipped it and showed it how to work for the business side, how you could actually use the same exact chart, just change the categories on the sides and the months and everything, and you put in for your marketing and the business cycles of basically of gymnastics. Okay, so you have your gymnastics triathlon that you're running every year, which is fall, spring, and summer. So anyways, the public plan is on that chart. Look at that. You got to get an idea. Step two is really important, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off, and I kind of open a lot of eyes in the lecture, and that is, this is all about you. It has nothing to do with them. This is all about you. Recreational staff training, period, has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. It's all about you. In fact, you, gym owner, program director, general manager, you have to take extreme ownership of the programs, of the gym, of everything that happens. You have to take this extreme ownership to the point where there's nothing that happens and goes wrong that isn't your fault. And I know that it sounds like, really, well, Bryan, I got these people working for me, and sometimes they screw up, and when they screw up, I have to deal with it, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but why are they screwing up? Most of the time it comes down to they made a mistake because they either didn't have the knowledge, or they did what they thought was right, or they just got lazy because they felt no one cared. That's it. At the end of the day, this is your gym. At the end of the day, this is your program. At the end of the day, it's your bank account that's going to suffer. At the end of the day, you can point fingers at everybody and their dog, and the same result is always going to happen. So you have to take extreme ownership, where everything, as you being the leader, everything that goes on in that gym, from the time that the people pull up in the parking lot to the time they come into the class to the time they leave back out to the parking lot and drive away, anything that goes on is your fault and your problem. And hopefully you'll work through it with your staff to find out what's working well, what's not, so you can alleviate most of the problems and also have a very open way of communication. Okay, at the end of the day, and on the slide, I put up a really cool thing from Zig Ziglar, and it just says this: you were born to win, but to be the winner, you must plan to win and prepare to win. Then, and only then, can you legitimately expect to win. Plan and prepare. Own it. Make it yours. This is your baby. I mean, if you are hired by a gym owner and you're a program director, if you're not taking extreme ownership over that program, then gym owners, get a new program director. That's not your person. Get somebody who'll own it. Get somebody who'll take initiative, make things happen, communicate with you daily, and make sure you're on the same page and rowing in the same direction. So we moved on from there. With the key takeaway is just what I said. The staff is a reflection of you. The staff is not a reflection of them. They're there to do and create and model the things that you have set forth. Okay, and we'll get into that in just 1 second when we get into the proven process. But I have to make a mention of it because I mentioned in every single lecture I've done for, oh God, several years now, since 2013. That's a lot of years. And the slide, you have to go see the slide because it's really cool. But Slick is there, and I have Slick in all my lectures. Yeah, I love and I hate Slick, but Slick shows up in all my lectures because we don't want to be slick. We don't want to have our staff act like Slick. Slick is the guy who has everything for sale: cars, jewelry, guns, drugs, knives, what you want. Okay, that's Slick. He's just out to make a buck. He doesn't care if it's good, bad, doesn't care if it works, it doesn't work. He just wants to sell it. It's cheap. He's going to make a buck, and he's out the door. All right. And we all know people like that, but we do not want our staff coming off like Slick. So I put that in the slide there. So as I move forward, step 3, and I told you that this is where kind of the rubber hits the road with rec staff training. And I know you're sitting there going, wow, so far we haven't done anything to train rec staff. Actually, we've done a whole lot to train rec staff because we've been training you on how to look at your business so that you can prepare to train the rec staff. And you prepare all these things: what works well, what doesn't, why doesn't it work, what do we need to get rid of, what do we need to improve on, what areas of the gym do we need to grow. All this comes together with your proven process. Step 3, proven process. Okay, and I put up a marketing diagram because it was very clear. As a gym owner, program director, general manager, you are going to spend money to get people to come to the gym. Whether you're spending it in time or you're spending it in dollars, you're spending it. You're going to get them into the gym. You're going to put them into some kind of something so you can email them later, keep up, or have a thing. You have them sign a waiver. Usually that's how you do it. You just have them sign a waiver and you get their name, their phone number, their email address. Then you have someone put it into iClass Pro or whatever you're using to market your stuff. But at the end of the day, it's turned over to your staff. These hard-earned prospects that you got in the door to do trials, that you got in the door to come check out your gym, that you got in the door to come try gymnastics, they're turned over to the rec staff. And if the rec staff, you hired on the fly, you gave them a sheet of paper with skills, and you pointed to 3 events for the day and told them every 15 minutes you rotate, probably not going to turn out so well. Now, you could get a seasoned person in there that they can handle that. You give them that, they've been around enough. But most of the time, what we hire for our recreational classes is fun, energetic, younger people, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Energetic, fun. They're there to help you with these classes and help build the program. The problem is that they're the ones that are doing the nurturing of the prospect. And most of the time, since we didn't take the time to find out what was working well, what wasn't, why it's not working, we didn't have a clear plan as to an objective as to what these people are supposed to do and how we're supposed to be measuring it with our key results, and then having some metric which we're measuring it by, then these people are left to their own vices. And I told a funny story. So, great kid. Perfect. It was funny. A friend of mine was telling me about it. Kid teaches a class. Awesome class. Parents are like elated. And their kids come out, they're smiling, they're high-fiving. Mom, this was a great experience. Bob, I love this. I want to do it all the time. Can we come back tomorrow? All this. And the staff comes over and says, hey, we learned this and we learned that. And when everyone had fun. And by the way, is it cash, check, or charge? And of course, all the parents have this great excitement about the program and all this stuff. And all your staff did was come over there and basically ask them to pay. Now, I know it was kind of funny when I told the story, kind of funny if you think about it. But at the end of the day, I don't think I want any of my 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old staff doing more than going over, telling the parents exactly, hey, today we did this and this and this, and she did real well or he did real well on these things, and we're going to work on improving these things. And how did you find out what they thought of the class? I hope to have you back. If you're ready to sign up, please see so-and-so over at the desk, and they'll help you get into a class of your choice at a time that works best for you. That's it. I don't want them taking money. I don't want them hard selling the client. I don't want them doing more than that. I want them preparing at that point, thanking everybody, moving on and preparing for the next group of prospects or class kids, clients that I have that they've got to take care of. So the two generating factors that we have to look at in metrics is retention and additions. How many people came in on trials? How many we convert? How many kids are we retaining month to month to month? If you don't know those metrics, you got a problem. So I put up the marketing diagram. It takes you through different things, but it the delivery and satisfying on that is the retention piece for gymnastics. Okay. The upsell to customers, that is where you get them to do parents' night outs. That's where you get them to do their birthday parties there. That's where you get them to do any fun activities that are going on. That's just an open gym type of experience, or maybe a specialized program that you're doing, a clinic that's open to rec kids. It could be anything, but that's the upsell. And that's up to you, gym owner, program director. That's not the staff. They will present it however they are given to present it, but it's up to you to fill in the gaps and actually sell that program. So you have to be on top of it. Okay. And then of course, getting referrals, and getting referrals is always good because you want them to bring their friends. So step 4, rec staff training, staff training. And yeah, I started with rec staff, but it's basically all staff. But let's focus on the rec staff because that's where the rubber hits the road with the sales. Make sure they have the right tools. Make sure that they're comfortable doing what you're asking them to do. The 16-year-old shy kid that's bubbly and fun out on the floor, but when they come up to an adult, they want to go hide under a rock, is probably going to have a hard time talking to parents in any capacity. So you're going to have to coach them a little bit. You're going to have to train them a little bit. You're going to have to give them some verbal cues and tools so that they can learn this. And I used another marketing diagram because it was really good. And basically it was the first step in that was for them to learn how to listen. Okay. And example of this that I gave is if mom said, oh, she loved the class, you're such a good instructor, but hey, Dad and I are divorced. Dad's not supportive of Junior doing gymnastics or little daughter doing gymnastics. And he's not going to bring them on his weeks where we're there with them. So what do? Do you have a program that will accommodate me? All they need to do is listen. And then they need to react in a way that's, hey, you know what? I don't deal with that specific issue, but I know that we have something that can accommodate you. Let me get you over to so-and-so at the registration desk and let them work through a plan that's suitable for you. Again, this is all about sales. Everybody hates it that I relate gymnastics to sales, but gymnastics people are the biggest salesmen, probably the greatest salesmen on earth. Why do I say that? Because gymnastics is the only sport, and unless I miss something, it's the only sport on the planet. Dance comes close, but it's the only sport on the planet where you fail yourself to success. From day one, you fail yourself to success. Your body is the instrument for the sport. It creates the movement. It creates the entire content of the sport, and you fail your way to success. And the higher up that you get in gymnastics, the more you fail. Knowing that, you're selling kids that come into your program, you're selling them on the fact that you have what it takes to sell them a dream, to get them to learn X, Y, and Z. And you're selling them that when they fail, you still know how to get them to do it. So you're basically selling them a dream. You're creating motivation and inspiration around a carrot that's dangled, but it's a dream. And like I said, you fail your way to success in gymnastics. That's how it works. That's how the entire sport works. There's been no one in the history of the sport that I know of, and I'm always open to be corrected, that just came in and everything was perfect from day one. Perfect, 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 perfect. Everything's perfect. I don't know anybody, and probably you don't either. So, do they have the right tools? Give them the right tools. Talk to them. Don't be afraid to bring the rest of the staff together after you and your key staff have had that monster meeting of answering the two questions and then the elephant question of why. Ask your rec staff during training. Have staff meetings regularly that ask the two questions. In fact, they start with the two questions. Hey guys, what's working well? What's not? Then write them down. Why? It's the only way you're going to improve your gym. It's the only way you're going to improve your staff training. It's the only way. You can't. You can tell me you're a dictator and they do it this way, that way. You're not getting the full picture. If they're not communicating, it's not a two-way street. Communicating and trying to fix and solve problems on a daily, then it's not going to work long term, and your gym probably won't be as successful as it could be. So make sure they have the right tools. How does any of this lead to the better staff training? It's the next slide. It's like slide number 10, I think. Number one, you want to encourage better communication and engagement between the leadership of the gym and the staff. You want them to be able to come to you with any problem and not feel in fear for their job. A lot of gymnastics coaches love the sport of gymnastics to the point where they're just not real financially stable, and they don't have they live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a lot of extra there. So anytime there's a problem, they're usually going to suck it up versus voice it, because there's a fear that, well, they'll get that hour taken away, or you might decide that they're not a team player, so they're going to be replaced and then out of a job altogether. There's a lot of things that go on with that. So you want better engagement and collaboration, and this is one way to get it. And if you're doing staff training, you've got to understand this. You have to. The bigger piece as we move into the last thing, and it's step number 5, is simply stick to the basics. I know the sport of gymnastics has changed. I mean, when I started gymnastics, the stuff that we were doing was very elementary to even what the rec kids are doing today. And those were big skills. When I started gymnastics, you didn't see 10, 11-year-old kids doing some of the same things the elites were doing. It wasn't happening. We've progressed over the last 30 plus years to a point where there's a lot of demand on these young athletes, and there's a lot of things that are going on in their lives that are also demanding: school, relationships. You have this crazy, outlandish social sphere via the social media and the internet that we're using to do this. So you when you nail this down and you start looking at how you're going to prepare for your staff training, and how you're going to set up your proven process, and how you're going to move people through classes, and how every class is going to be pretty much framed the same, different personality with the coach, but all the framework is the same, moving from mom and me to 2-year-olds to 3, all the same. And how you're going to make this scalable, not only for the gym classes, but how you're going to make this scalable for your rec staff and put them in a career path. They've got to be able to see that there's growth opportunity for them to become more as they do more, to become more as they get more experience, to get more, make more money, move up the ladder as they collaborate with you to help show that they are paying attention, they're learning, and they're coming up with good, sound solutions to minuscule problems that need to be eliminated and handled immediately. You've got to have a career path for them. It needs to fit in the scalability of your whole overarching goal of your gym, but you have to have a career path for them. They have to know where they're going. You have to know how to use the proven process so that when they come in, every class, every beginner class, recreational beginner class, is done the same way. It's done the same. It's the same skills, same setups, and you alternate them every other week. You alternate them every month, however you choose to do it. But the process in which they're going to come in and teach those classes is going to be very systematic. And I know someone said, well, Bryan, that'll get boring. That'll get boring. The staff won't like it. No, actually, it won't. It won't get boring because every new child is a new challenge to get them to do these skills. And if your proven process is working correctly, then you should be able to move kids through the process in a very timely manner. And you should know what that time generally is for the majority of kids and how they're going to progress. And in your proven process, hopefully you have some kind of neat, star on the wall with their coach as they move up to the next level. However you reward the staff kids, the rec kids for moving up, you have something in there in your proven process that shows parents, we move these kids up. This is how it works. Okay. And I know, as you know, every kid that walks in the gym wants to be on the team. And every kid now wants to be Simone Biles. And every kid is going to go to the Olympics. And we got it. We understand that. That's a given. Let's just take that out of the equation. Let's get our proven process. Let's put it out publicly so people know what it is. Hey, you come to our gym. We're going to evaluate you. If you've never done gymnastics before, you're going to go into a beginner class. This is the time period which we're going to try to keep you in a beginner class and move you to the next class. If that doesn't work, then you'll know where you are, what you need to do to get to the next level, and we'll give you another time frame in which we think you can accomplish it. Easy. But yet that doesn't go into most of people's plan for training their staff. And I know people aren't going to be as smooth as someone's been doing it 34 years, but you're going to have to give them the tools. You're going to have to help them along. You're going to have regular staff meetings. You're going to have staff trainings. In these staff trainings, you're going to have to know all these things. And the beginning of that staff training is what the hell's working well and what the hell's not. And try to fix the problem and become a collaborative force in the gym from leadership to staff so that you are all working together and rowing in the same direction. You've got to row the boat in the same direction. And you can't have somebody that's not pulling their weight. If they're not pulling their weight, there's a reason why. And again, I tell you, take extreme ownership. It's your fault. If someone's not rowing right, it's your fault. And at the end of the day, you have to be courageous enough to put it all on the table. And if it's incorrectable, like they just can't handle doing what's necessary for your proven process so that they can be successful and your program can continue to be successful, you have to be courageous enough to cut the cord and let them go and move to a new staff person. It's totally up to you to do that. So that was the lecture. That was everything. We had a lot of feedback in the group. A lot of people asked, well, how if you had new staff, you brought them in. I said, well, new staff. I said I told you I like the month of May. I think the month of May is very important, and I think the month of February, March, and April are very important to start identifying staff. And what I'm talking about those staff is that's mainly I would say high school and college kids that are going to come in and help you for the summertime to do summer camps and various things. But it's also to find those staff that want to continue on into the fall. And you can have a select group of staff that's just going to be there for the summer and hire some younger staff that's going to continue through their next year of high school, their first years of college, they're staying in town, then you have those staff, but you identified them and you know how to nurture them. And you know how to bring them along. You know what training you're going to need to do with them. Training with the summer staff is going to be much less intensive than that of what you're going to do with the staff that you intend to keep on as part of your recreation staff through the winter, fall, or the fall semester there. Okay, and hopefully into the winter, spring too, but for the fall semester. So knowing in the month of May, having your key staff, program directors, head coaches, all that come in and work with you on what's working well in the gym and what's not. And then having an open dialogue where anyone can say anything that they want, just about, to go ahead and alleviate some of these problems. You might find out that there's programs in your gym that people have been sucking it up and doing, but the reason why that vertical hasn't grown or hasn't taken off isn't because the staff sucks, isn't because the marketing was bad. It's just because it doesn't fit. There's not really, in that demographic area in which you're reaching, there's really not a good fit. You don't have athletes that really want to do that. And maybe it's not your forte in the gym. A lot of people got into Ninja and they've spent money on buying Ninja. And they found out that, well, Ninja is cool. Ninja is awesome. Ninja does great things. However, you have to have somebody that's interested in Ninja and interested to the point where they're going to continue to build and help you build program for Ninja so that it fits within your gym and what you purchased to do Ninja. So you might find out that Ninja isn't a good fit. And if that's not a good fit, maybe you shouldn't do it. So again, better rec staff training, it's all about you. It's totally all about you. You have to take extreme ownership. You have to own every piece of that program in that gym, just like the owner does. You have to be that willing to step up and say, hey, all this, my fault. I should have done a better job of X, Y, and Z. And I know people are going to say, well, that makes you look weak because you admitted that you didn't do something or whatever. Actually, it makes you look strong. And it makes you look very strong because you were able to identify something that you didn't do well, and you came up with a solution to correct it and not let it happen again. That's very strong. And that's what makes great people in the gymnastics world, makes great people in any industry, actually. But in our gymnastics world, that's what makes great people. The ones that are leaders enough and big enough to stand up and say, hey, I didn't do that as well as I should have. Let me move to do this, this, and this to correct it. Let's not have it happen again. The people that point the fingers and are always passing the buck, those are the ones we tend to shy away from. And trust me, hey, we've all passed the buck. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's passed the buck. I've done it. Everybody's done it. However, I learned a long time ago, I don't pass the buck. If something's wrong, hey, it was wrong because of me. It may take me a few minutes to admit it, but 9 times out of 10, and lately 10 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you, I should have done this better, and I should do these things to correct it and not let it happen again. So better rec staff training starts with you. It's totally about you. Take extreme ownership and enjoy. I hope everyone enjoys the video. Like I said, the slide deck is in the notes. You should be able to get it. I programmed it where anyone with the link can view it. So enjoy, and I will see you next time. And maybe I'll figure out a way to get YouTube to actually let me screen share, and then we can do some more fun videos. See ya.